Hello there, it's Sunday night. So, once again, you know what that means. It's time for the American College Cricket Live Show. And today, we've got a lot of exciting things to talk about, especially, of course, India versus England, that ongoing series that's in such a fascinating position right now. So, let me bring on our guest with me today. And it will be Hi Sahil. It's going to be Hirsch. It's going to be Hirsch. And just give me a second. As you know, sometimes we have a little bit of a challenge getting this started. But whilst I do that, let me tell you that today began week in American college cricket. We celebrate the birthday of the Don, perhaps the greatest sportsman statistically involved in any sport. And there, I'll continue that in a second. Let me welcome Harsh Dubey from Georgetown University. Hi, Harsh.
Hi everyone. Hi Mr. Jonah, how are you doing?
Good to have you back here and ready to do the show. Now, of course, you were in India for some time.
Yeah, for sure.
And how was that for you? Probably great to be home, right?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, this was the first time I had gone home after my first year at Georgetown, so that was great. And finally getting back getting to follow Indian cricket as it happened on the scenes was, of course, a different experience in itself.
Well, of course, the other thing is that even though you're back here now to talk about the series in general,
Mm-hmm.
um, it must be interesting to see it happening whilst you're in India and getting the
Mm-hmm.
perspectives there of people in
Mm-hmm.
India, especially after the two losses. Tell me a little bit
Mm-hmm.
about that. What was that like? What was the
Yeah,
feeling around you?
yeah. So I feel like we as Indians have a tendency to go either, extremes in both directions. So when India is losing, we're one of the worst teams we possibly have. And when we're winning, we're basically undefeatable. That's the sort of perception about the Indian team in general. So I think, being in India itself, on the one hand, it's a lot more exciting to see both the jubilation and, the sort of disappointment when India loses. On the other hand, it's very easy to lose perspective and sort of get caught up in the moment. I found that, when looking at these series from abroad, it's a lot easier to remain a little more objective, mainly because people aren't so passionate, or I wouldn't say that, but for some reason, people are able to detach themselves a little more from the game.
Right. And of course, it's in an exciting position right now.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst England have won the first two, the kind of performance we saw from the Indian bowlers in the third test really
Mm-hmm.
gives India hope for the remainder of the series. Virat
Mm-hmm.
Kohli's batting has been tremendous throughout the
Mm-hmm.
series, so that remains a constant. And India is taking steps to address its batting situation. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, we'll touch on that as well, the possible test debut of young Prithvi Shaw. So go ahead,
Mm-hmm.
give me your thoughts on the series so far, the third
Mm-hmm.
test, of course, and what you see happening for the remaining two tests.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like the first two tests sort of opened in the manner that's sort of become the despair for Indians in overseas tests, because India, has a reputation of being able to perform great when it's at home, but overseas, and especially in England, it's always floundered. So the first two tests were a little disappointing as an Indian. In that we saw great bowling by England, of course, who used the swing to their advantage. And in the Indian batting itself, only Virat Kohli was able to stand up to that sort of swing, scoring, hundreds in both matches, or no, 100 in his first match and almost 197 out on the second. We saw he was really able to overcome his difficulty with previous English conditions, and that was, seeing that was just fantastic as an Indian. The third match, though, really showed the potential, India's potential as a test team in England. As you said, both the Indian bowlers performed well, of course, being able to bowl out England at such a low total. And the Indian batsmen were able to put on a score of excess of 500, despite the conditions, of course. And I think that was a great performance in which each batsman contributed to the overall total. And in bowlers, all of them did their job. Now, with respect to the bowling, though, one thing I've noticed, at least while I was watching, is that while they'd certainly put on a good performance in the third test, they were able to put a good line and length and, keep the batsmen from scoring. Indian bowlers have not been able to take advantage of the conditions in England to swing the ball as much as someone like Jimmy Anderson or Stuart Broad has been able to. Our main swinger, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, has been injured, and with that, we see, while on the one hand, it's reassuring that we still have a strong pace attack even when our main bowler, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, is injured. On the other hand, we weren't able to see much swing. There was a lot more seam tight bowling, and I feel like in a country like England, when the ball can swing so much, it would be nice to have a bowler who can add a little more movement in the air. So that's a bit about the series so far. With regards to where it's going, I feel like the scales are still tipped rather in England's favor, but India has a fighting chance now, of course. It'll have to win the next two tests, and with the recent change in its batting lineup, Prithvi Shaw, it has the potential to go both ways. It can either go up or changing with the batting, messing with the batting order, and putting a young debutant who, although definitely very talented, it could potentially backfire. So it's very interesting to see where the series might go.
Now, do you think it was a good idea to bring in Prithvi at this point?
Mm-hmm. So I would say that there was definitely a change that was needed in the opening, and Prithvi Shaw has come in for Murli Vijay, I believe, and so I think that shows that on the one, the selectors are finally willing to axe players who aren't necessarily performing to the trust that people put in them. So I think Prithvi Shaw is a great talent, of course. He's been compared to the next Sachin Tendulkar, and this is, the right time to bring him into the game. So with regards to overall Indian cricket, being able to bring in a youngster like Prithvi Shaw, who's incredibly talented, show that, the Indian selectors are confident in him. I think it'll be good, especially with respect to the planned, if the Test World Cup is supposed to materialize, then I think sort of grooming someone like Prithvi Shaw from now is a great idea. With respect to the series, however, I'm a little less certain. I'm a little more uncertain because, on the one hand, Prithvi Shaw is a great talent. On the other, he's young and facing a bowling attack like Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad and the quality of pace bowlers that England have might be a little tough. That said, I'm definitely hoping for the best, and I'm confident that he'll be able to do well. We'll just see how this goes.
Well, that's a good point. The swing that English bowlers in general, but specifically in this case, Jimmy Anderson is bowling tremendously well in England. Mm-hmm. For such a young, inexperienced, in a sense, batsman of any class, any caliber, and no doubt he has the class, it will challenge him a lot. Mm-hmm. But of course, he has shown enough, I guess, for the selectors to feel the confidence in him. Now, what do you think? I mean, there are lots of Indian batsmen who have shown abilities in different, let's say, formats of the game, maybe ODIs and so on. But somehow, when it comes to the tests, and particularly right now in England, where they're facing, English conditions, as people say, that strong batting lineup hasn't appeared to be that strong, to the point where you're bringing in Prithvi Shaw.
Yeah.
What do you think? What are your feelings on that? What do you think is the cause of that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mr. Jodan. It's a bit of a conundrum, the world's best batting side and ODIs and T20s isn't able to do as well in the topmost pillar of the game. On the one hand, I think a lot of it is due to, it's ironically because of that very reason that we're so focused on ODIs and T20s that, and test batting is it's a very different ball game. Like what we've seen with Virat Kohli, who, the only way he's been able to overcome his weakness outside the off stump is by pretty much leaving every single ball. Now that's not something you do as much in ODIs. And so it's only, from my understanding, it's only experienced test players who realize that the approach to batting in tests is very different from what you have in ODIs and T20s are able to make, or have the experience to make that distinction. So on the one hand, I feel like maybe the focus on T20 and ODI cricket, while making India very strong in those areas, has somewhat diminished the sort of test batting, unless you have someone with the sort of dedication and concentration and, of course, talent of Virat Kohli, who's been able to recognize his weakness and find a way to overcome it. Nowadays, you see lots of batsmen chasing the ball outside off stump, which is something you're generally not supposed to do, especially in a place like England and when you have bowlers like Jimmy Anderson. So that's one
Well,
reason.
well, yeah, that's a very good point, and it goes along with what I think as well. And ODIs and T20s, the ball is coming at you mainly middle to off because, of course, anything on the leg side is a wide.
Mm-hmm.
And the necessity, first of all, of scoring on practically every ball is
Mm-hmm.
one thing. But then the other thing is you're all forever trying to get those balls from middle to off over to the leg side.
Mm-hmm.
So that exposes a batsman and it develops habits that are hard to break when you come to a test,
Mm-hmm.
where the bowler has more freedom. He can bowl middle, off, leg, whatever. And therefore, it's now more incumbent on you to deal with those balls on their own merit rather than
Mm-hmm.
trying to bring them, pull them, just steer them away from the offside onto the leg side. And it
Mm-hmm.
goes back to something that I keep talking about, and I will keep talking about forever because I firmly believe it's damaged the game tremendously. This rule about everything on the leg side being a wide in ODIs and T20. It's
Mm-hmm.
created two different games, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why we're getting these erratic performances in tests
Mm-hmm.
because the batsmen are coming in with skills developed for the ODI and T20 games. Somewhat
Mm-hmm.
like if you take a baseball player and say, go here, go play a test match, he'll have the
Mm-hmm.
same problems, which
Yeah.
also is indicative of how close they've brought T20 cricket to baseball. So it's a big flaw in what has been done to the game, where now we have two games basically, and
Mm-hmm.
just because it has the trappings of cricket, we're still
Mm-hmm.
calling it cricket, but basically T20 and ODIs are closer than ever to baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And exactly why you're getting these issues, especially a bowler, any bowler, but especially like of a caliber of a Jimmy Anderson, swinging that
Mm-hmm.
ball away, going away on the offside, and you instinctively trying to bring that across to the leg side, even a
Then
defensive
you're in
shot,
trouble.
you're turning the bat.
Mm-hmm.
That outside edge is begging,
Yeah.
touch
Yeah.
me. So that actually is along the lines of something I feel strongly about. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
go ahead. Did you have a second point on that?
With regards to Indian batsmen in test conditions,
Yeah.
um, I feel like that was my main point with regards to the
Okay.
focus on T20 and that what IPL has, on the one hand, it's brought in lots of money and revenue into the sport, and to some extent, you might say it's popularized it. And I actually wanted to know what you think about this whole conundrum, if you will. Some people say that T20 and making it more of a spectacle is necessary to the globalization of the sport. Other people,
Well,
and then
I love the IPL. There's no
Mhm,
question about it. I love the IPL. What it's done for the game, what it's done for the income of our players. I want my stars to make money. If they
mhm,
don't make money, the game doesn't make money, then it will not survive. So
mhm,
I love that. What I definitely dislike and what I really want to work to change is this leg side rule. You
Mm-hmm.
know, as you're new to American college cricket, but the guys who are regulars know that our rule is we do not automatically call everything on the leg side wide. Right now, we use a guide of about 6 inches where the
Mm-hmm.
ball is deemed playable and a batsman has to play a shot. He's not going to get a wide. So it
Mm-hmm.
does a couple of things. It keeps your skills intact of playing these onside shots. It
Mm-hmm.
also keeps the game closer to the, the, as I call it,
Pen.
the real game. So
Mm-hmm.
if you were playing T20 under our rules, you don't need to make a transition if you were to play Test cricket.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same skills you're going to use because you have
Mm-hmm.
not been forced to play across the line from middle to off to get the ball onto the leg side.
Mm-hmm.
The bowler has more freedom as well. So right now, bowlers, look, I saw Mohammed Irfan just did a record of bowling 4 overs for some minuscule amount of runs and
Yeah.
took a wicket or two, but it was like 2 runs scored off one ball or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yes, that is awesome, a performance. But this performance is indicative of how close the game is now to baseball, where the focus is on dot balls
Mm-hmm.
and bowling defensively, like
Yeah.
how basically a pitcher in baseball is just trying to make the batter miss.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not even so much about getting somebody out; it's about getting them to miss. In the
Mm-hmm.
case of cricket, so get you do not score. So it's very defensive,
Mm-hmm.
and that's indicative of where the game has gone. So I don't dislike T20 per se. I
Mm-hmm.
dislike that particular rule, and I don't think it's necessary. And we were showing that in American college cricket, where guys are playing flicks off the pads, and this kind of stuff, and on
Mm-hmm.
drives and so on. Even
Yeah.
a fast bowler is able to bounce coming in
Mm-hmm.
from leg, which by the way
Yeah.
is the most dangerous bouncer
Yeah.
to
For
play.
sure. For
That's been
sure.
taken away from fast bowlers in ODIs and T20. So
Yeah.
even I look at the career of Mitchell Johnson, for instance. Even whilst he was devastating in tests, he
Mm-hmm.
was just an ordinary bowler in the IPL and any other short form of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it's the rule, that particular rule, rather than anything else about T20. And of course, we promote T20 cricket here in the US, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm a traditionalist about the game, so I tend to keep it, as many of the old rules as I can,
Mm-hmm.
and that to me is the key right there. Now, the Indian fast bowlers.
Mm-hmm.
India is in a great position right now where they have a lot of fast bowlers to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
Ishant Sharma was injured. They had guys bowling well and fast.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah.
comes back, they're just not short of it. I mean, that's a great change for it, India. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think?
Yeah, for sure. It's something that's come only recently. I mean, even in the 2011 World Cup, we had Zahir Khan and um and I forgot Munaf Patel and some other fast bowlers, but we never really had we never had so many options where, if Bhuvneshwar Kumar is injured, if Ishant Sharma is injured, then you still have fast bowlers coming up. And I think, I'm not really entirely sure how this has come about. Maybe it's, sort of the realization that one, in terms of pitches, where, you no longer have the dust bowl pitches that used to be there, India used to be. Um, it's no longer the dusty pitches, and you have more flat wickets that are basically batting pitches and hard wickets. So that might be partly why we have more
Yeah.
fast bowlers than earlier before.
Let me just say hi to a couple of guys. Jafar, thanks for your
Mhm.
comment. Amol, Ramesh, and any other of the guys, Atul, Ali, and so on that I may have missed. There were some others I missed, but
Mhm.
just want to say hi to them. Well, I did hear that from a number of people and read that there's been a deliberate attempt to change the pitches in India,
Mhm.
and sometimes Facebook gives you these memories, and I
Mhm.
saw where I made some comments a couple of years ago where I forget who he was playing as an emergent player in Australia when India was losing badly on their
Mhm.
last tour when Virat Kohli was not scoring runs.
Yeah.
And I made the comments that why is this guy bowling at 90 miles an hour in an emerging playing tournament in Australia when India obviously has no fast bowlers. And
Uh-huh.
so that really changed fairly quickly, but it was something that was needed over the years because you can't really be champions without fast bowlers.
Yeah,
You might win a
definitely.
series here or there, but
Yeah.
you,
I mean, you need a balanced team. You need to have, of course, you you can have world, but Kapil Dev played a major contribution to the 1983. So like even in something as far back as the first World Cup that India won, Kapil Dev was crucial, and he was, of course, a medium fast bowler. So what your point about fast bowlers is definitely true because they're the ones who are going to take the majority of your wickets.
yep. And whilst we could talk a lot more about that, let's touch on Ireland versus Afghanistan because that's an
Yeah.
important series happening right now. Two
Yes.
new test countries, of course, so attention has been drawn towards them now since that announcement was made. They both
Mm-hmm.
made their test debuts with different results. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the same results of losing, but Ireland came Ireland came out looking really good.
Mm-hmm.
And but the important thing was they got their chances and they can build on that. Now they're
Yeah.
playing each other. Let's talk. Tell me about that.
Yeah. I think this is really a commendable development by the ICC. It shows that cricket, to some extent, is starting to move past, the elite 10 nations, only these people can play tests and only these people can have official ODI status. And the fact that more attention is being given to countries like Ireland and Afghanistan is, I think, a great sign for the future of the game. And specifically, I'd like to sort of, give a hats off to the Afghanistan team. Not They won the T20 series 2-0, and the ODI series is supposed to start tomorrow. And I'd like to give them a hats off not only for their win, but simply for the fact that they come from a war-torn country, a war-ravaged country like Afghanistan. That many of these cricketers, grew up playing tape ball cricket on the street and had had very little access to the facilities that we take almost for granted here. And just through the sort of dedication and perseverance and hard work, they've been able to make it this far. And you have someone like Rashid Khan, who's become the top ranked T20 international bowler from a country like Afghanistan. 5 years ago, this wouldn't have even been imaginable. So it's just crazy, this whole story, and I think it's very inspiring and great for the game. Um,
Well, most definitely.
yeah. So with regards to the series itself, um, I would say the result is decently surprising in the sense that Afghanistan made essentially a clean sweep against Ireland, 2-0, and in both matches they looked to be in the best of shape. They looked very strong. Rashid Khan, of course, was at his lethal best. He took 7 wickets within these 2 matches, and Ireland really was not able to put up much of a fight.
Good. Well, we'll be watching more of what happens with those two countries, of course. I want
Mm-hmm.
to touch on, of course, the fact that this week is what we call Sir Donald Bradman Week, where
Mm-hmm.
we honor the greatness of the Don. And statistically, he's the greatest sportsman in any sport of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically starts the American college cricket season because, of course, a number of our colleges are coming back and they at least start practicing, if not actually playing home and away matches.
Mm-hmm.
The Canadian College Cricket National Championships begins at the end of the week, the 29th.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, like I said, home and away matches are happening until September 29th when the Midwest Regional happens, 29th and 30th. And we haven't confirmed the location yet. It could be Detroit, as it has been for the past few years. We'll confirm in a few days. Then
Mm-hmm.
after that, the following weekend, it's October 3rd and 4th. It's in New York or
Mm-hmm.
Boston. Again, that's to be confirmed very soon. And then followed by on the 13th and the 14th, it'll be October 6th and 7th for the
Mm-hmm.
Northeast. and then October 13th and 14th for the Mid-Atlantic. That is confirmed to be where it has been for a number of years, about 6 years now, near
Mm-hmm.
Philly, British Officers Cricket Club, and nearby fields. And of course, the other regionals follow. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll check out what's happening with the Canadian National Championship this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and well, coming up this weekend, Labor Day weekend,
Yeah.
and follow through with the more home and away games. So keep watching the American College Cricket Facebook page for that information and streams. And then, of course, we'll be back here Thursday night at 8 o'clock. So thank you, Harsh, for your thoughts today.
Thank you for having
And
me.
you're welcome. And of course, reminder to everyone that Harsh is from Georgetown University. They'll be one of our newest teams as soon as they do what they need to do on campus to become a member. And in the meantime, Hirsch has been pretty helpful uh, to us behind the scenes. So keep that up. And a reminder to all of you to share this and share American College Cricket Post. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Thank you, everyone.